Guys, there might actually be a change coming to the game that benefits free-to-play players. So 4 hours ago on News Royale, there was this post that went out that is titled Card Gold Costs Reduced. Let's get into what it talks about. So from this post on September 6th, you can see it says card gold costs reduce. These changes will be live after a maintenance break on Thursday, September 7th. The gold cost of rare, epic, and legendary cards is going down. It provides a mini chart here so you can kind of visualize what it's talking about. So for the rarity, you have rare on the left. The old gold cost was 100 for each rare, and the new is 50, so that's getting cut in half. The epic was 1,000, and that's getting reduced by a whopping 80%, going all the way down to 200, and the legendary was 40,000, getting reduced by 62.5%, going down to 15,000 gold. However, it does look like common cards are going to stay the same value and only be worth 10 gold still. These values will be reflected in the gold price of cards in the shop. Why? So why are they making this change? The gold value of cards has remained unchanged since the launch of Clash Royale in 2016, and 7 years later, it no longer reflects the current reality of game progression. For example, legendary cards are now much easier to obtain than they were when they were first introduced. I agree with all of this. It actually kind of surprises me there hasn't been any changes since the start of the game, because legendaries now are way easier to get. Do you remember when the game first came out, when people opened a legendary chest and got one, it was about as rare as getting a champion is today, or even more rare. It was a very, very rare occurrence to get a legendary back in 2016 or even 2017. And it's talking about elite wildcards here. These new card values will also standardize the gold costs of elite wild cards. Currently, when you buy a level 14 card in the shop, it is converted directly into elite wild cards, but the gold cost of this conversion varies on the rarity. After this change, any elite wild card obtained through conversion will cost 10 gold regardless of the converted card's rarity. Is there any downside? To balance out the number of elite wildcards a player can obtain from the shop alone, legendary cards will be appearing less frequently in the shop. So that is something to consider, because right now you get a legendary card in your shop almost every day. The question is, how much are they going to be reducing it by? Is it the type of thing where they're going to be reducing it to every other day or once every 3 days? Or is it going to be only once a week? And if they do that, that would be kind of a bummer. So hopefully they don't reduce it that much. Well, what about the donations and the trades? The gold you can earn from donating cards will also be adjusted. So the rare card, 25 gold, and then in parentheses you can see it gives you 10 experience points and 10 star points. And then the epic card, 100 gold, 10 experience points, and 10 star points. The same goes for trades of level 14 cards. Rare cards will cost 25 gold, epic cards will cost 100 gold, legendary cards will cost 7,500 gold. These changes will be live after maintenance break on Thursday, September 7th, so this is getting implemented tomorrow. So I have my shop opened right now, so you can kind of see how it is currently. I guess we can just claim the elixir golems, but basically after the changes are implemented, the commons are going to stay the same. So the 500 gold for the 50 skeleton barrels, that's going to be the same. The 800 gold for the 80 knights, that's the same because the commons are going to stay 10. But the rares are going to be half the price. So the hog rider, for instance, you see how it's 30 for 3,000 gold. That instead is going to be 1,500 gold for those hog riders. So that'll be a pretty noticeable difference. Now, the thing, though, that confuses me a little bit, notice how for the epic, you see it's 250 gems. So the epics are sometimes worth gems and not gold. So in that case, you're not really getting the value for that gold reduction. There's also no legendary in the shop. If there were a legendary here, it would be 15,000 gold instead of the regular 40,000. So guys, overall, I think this is a good change coming to the game, but let's see what some other people think. So CR Leaks made the tweet here basically announcing the post like I did, saying, you know, the cost is going down tomorrow. Is this a good change? Asking people to say whether they think this is a good change, a bad change, or is it perhaps just neutral, because they are removing the daily legendary option from the shop. So I actually replied and said, I think they should also change or remove the gem option for epics, since the value is clearly outdated too. Maybe do the same that they did for the gold for epics, 80% less. So I actually talked about that briefly, you know, just a minute ago when I was showing you guys my shop. The 5 balloons for 250 gems, they should also reduce that by 80%, make it 50 gems. The fact that you're paying 250 gems for 5 epics is pretty absurd in my opinion, so I think they should definitely make that change too. So a dude is saying here, rare Clash Royale W. I personally think it's overall W, especially for free-to-play players overall. Now that gold became easy to get, you reduce card costs and make legendaries even harder to upgrade for advanced free-to-play players, and champions are still on the edge of impossible, with some possible hard working to max one every year. Good job. So this person overall is upset. They're saying maybe champions should be in the shop and actually have the option of being able to buy those with gold. Maybe they should do that. Maybe they should put champions in the shop for 50,000 gold, considering they greatly reduce the cost of legendaries. Maybe put champions in the shop like once a month for 50,000. For most of us folks, gold has become obsolete. I wonder what they want us to do. Finally, some good change. They have nowhere to spend their 5 million gold. So if I get a max legendary from a chest, I'll get 7,500 gold. Oh, that's a good point. So if you already have a card maxed, you're then not getting as much gold? Is that what he's saying? It would have been good, but legendaries are hard to come by as a free-to-play player. As someone starts to max out their decks, using gold to buy cards in the shop would be a good way to get all the legendaries. Now you probably won't get them at all. Okay, that's epic, not gonna lie. So, seems to be kind of mixed opinions. I mean, but majority of people seem to be saying it's a good change, which I do think it's good overall, but I can see why there is a little bit of, you know, maybe negativity or people who aren't a huge fan of that specific legendary change. And also, I just want to remind you guys, because I think this perfectly ties into this whole topic of the gold offers in the shop being reduced. You remember, there's a big gold event coming up later this month where you can get 1.75 million free gold, and this gold is going to end up being more valuable when you buy things in the shop. So if you feel like right now you don't have a lot of gold and you're not going to be able to buy stuff in the shop, so why do these reductions even matter? Remember, he was saying we had a website with big rewards go live ahead of schedule today, so it was broken. Good news, the rewards will stay the same, but the site will be returning later this month. Probably going to be the most gold we've ever given away, and I already showed that in the video. There's going to be chest challenges, so definitely be sure to do that, because you're going to be able to have a lot of gold stored for a while, which will give you a lot of value over time, probably twice the value when you're buying cards in the shop now that this change is going live. Alright guys, well that's the big gold change coming to Clash Royale. Do you guys personally think it's a W or an L? Is it a buff to the shop? Is it a nerf to the shop? Let me know. I think it overall is a small buff. Hopefully we find out after seeing what that legendary drop rate is that it is overall a good thing, and hopefully we're starting to get things pointed in the right direction inside of the game.